Dear students, let us start the discussion on today's newspaper, that is 09th February 2017. The first article is A Sudden Lightness of Being. This article talks about how the political system, political parties in India are changing. If you see the last year's question, they talk about the contradictions that are existing in the political parties in India. So in this case, let us try to understand what our post-ideological parties are. Our post-ideology mobilization means. Now, the grand world parties in India, that is Congress, BJP, these are centered around an ideology. If you talk about Congress ideology, pluralism, secularism, socialism, democracy. But however, many times it was not true to its ideology that has made it to lose its sheen over a period of time. And second is, on the other hand, there is a right-wing party, that is BJP. So, as like in Singapore in the Lee Kuan Yew era, more than ideology, the pragmatism has driven the party. So it means the pragmatism of economic prosperity, the need for economic prosperity, has made the Singapore and its policies. In this context, the Aam Aadmi Party, which has come into the picture today, it is more of is based on pragmatism rather than ideology. So one way, it provides for necessary flexibility for its operations, and at the same time, it deprives of its necessary vision and commitment to a set future. So an ideology provides a commitment, a path towards a future based on certain vision. But that is going to miss in this post-ideological parties. And second is, in India, the identity politics were very much stronger. These identity politics are been slowly fading away, and political economy can be explained into this. So now, after Una incident, the Dalit mobilization has took a strong pace. So there is an yatra taken up that is called Dalit Asmit Yatra. It is talking about redistribution, recognition plus voice. The voice, it needs political participation, and it brings in a kind of an empowerment. The redistribution, it provides for the necessary material benefits to the Dalits, and recognition, it provides for a social space of their own. So today, the concept of justice for Dalit empowerment, it is centered around redistribution, recognition, and providing them the voice. So this is what is the language the pragmatic parties have been talking about. So in this context, it's a new development in India, and let us see how the future of this development will be. So I can use this explanation towards writing the contradictions in the Indian political system and political parties. One way we have the ideology-centered parties, on the other way we are developing, our India is seeing new pragmatism-oriented political system. So that is one of the contradiction in India. And coming to a growing insecurity in Afghanistan. Now, this article talks about the vulnerabilities of Afghanistan in the as recent terror attacks have increased. So here, there is an attack in the Supreme Court premises, and also there are attempts on Parliament building. So in this context, the Afghanistan government is suffering from factionalism. You all know that it is a national unity government where the CEO and the president, they are at the crossroads with each other. And there are allegations of corruption against the Ashraf Ghani government. And on the other hand, USA is withdrawing itself from Afghanistan. And it is also creating a deficit in its military preparedness. So on the terror front, Islamic State is gaining its ground. So Islamic State and Taliban are posing new challenges over there. On the other hand, the weakening of the civil and military administration is worsening the situation. So in this context, Afghanistan shall work to reform itself and also to gain the greater commitment from the West. This is what the article talks about. Now, temptation of spoils. Here we need to understand two words. What is meant by spoil system? What is meant by McCarthyism? So the spoil system, it means that the spoil, a government office, belongs to a political loyalist. Whenever the president has changed in the United States of America, he offered the spoils, the government offices, to his loyalists, and it has killed the merit in the American civil services. Later, merit-based civil services has come up, and to administer these civil services, Civil Service Commission was created in the United States of America. In the similar fashion, in UK you have patronism, and later it was also reformed towards the merit-based bureaucracy. In India, the UPSC shall be an institution to protect the merit. And at the state level, we have state public service commissions to do the same. But however, the political appointments and seeing the positions in service commissions as spoils of the government, it is creating an uneasy situation. Let me say it this way. Across the state governments, most of the positions of the state public service commissions are been filled with unqualified political loyalists who even did not pass that graduation exam. So in Tamil Nadu, recently 3 of the appointments are being questioned by the courts. One is appointment to the State Public Service Commission, Consumer Forum President, and also Chairperson of the Child Rights Commission. So here we need to understand that a person's right to occupy a post cannot be deprived for him under Article 16. And at the same time, we cannot allow disqualified man to the public office. So in this case, what McCarthyism refers to, it is bringing in allegations that do not support with evidence, and it is to suppress freedom of speech. So it was practiced by Mr. McCarthy, senator from Wisconsin, during the Cold War era. So McCarthyism is an accusations and allegations without any substantial basis. So that technique is being followed now. And then, so McCarthyism is unwanted. At the same time, spoil system is also unwanted. So a strong mechanism is necessary so that qualified people occupy these higher positions. Getting back home safely. It is about evacuations which are being practiced by India. And we have operated more than 50 circumstances evacuation of Indians. And it is becoming more important as 3 crores of the people, they are being moving and stationed across the world. So protecting the Indian patriots also raises the respect for Indian state. So India though has operated more than 50 evacuations, the standard operating procedures and protocols are still non-existing. So we have to bring in them. So what the article suggests is we shall develop a blueprint of all the core operations. And to manage this, a coordination committee, an interministerial group has to be created. And then after that, what are our support bases where the people has to assemble, and what shall be the routes for evacuation from different countries? And these all need to be worked out prior to this evacuation. So the preparedness and practice are very much critical. So in this, the Indian Foreign Service and the armed forces play a critical role. And then the logistics are also very much important. The Indian Foreign Service officers have to be trained on evacuation process and procedures and to work in the war zones. And armed forces, they shall be mobilized towards making the necessary arrangements and also institutionalizing the entire process. And then logistics, air fleet has to be kept ready. So in this context, the air fleet or else a permanent civil air fleet has to be made available for the same purpose. And finally, we need to go with knowing the information about the people who need evacuation services. In this case, the information of the Indians traveling abroad and stationed abroad is necessary to be available with the government, and modern information technology can aid the government in the process. This is what the article talks about. Standard operating procedures to coordinate this and interministerial grouping, and IFOS armed forces shall be jointly trained, and logistics shall be managed, and information of the citizens shall be made available. And then coming to the news, it is about Justice Karnan, who has been transferred from Chennai High Court to the Kolkata High Court, and he made accusations about the judiciary itself. So in this case, contempt is being filed against Mr. Justice Karnan. So the transfer of the judges is the issue over here. So what the constitution talks about the transfer of the judges of the High Court, the article 222 subclause 1 states that The President of India can transfer the judges of High Court after consultation with Chief Justice of India, and this consultation has to be effective. And any such transfer shall be seen as a need for effective justice delivery rather than as a punitive action. And it has also been stated by Dr. B.R. Ambedkar in Constitution Assembly discussions. So, in this context, the Supreme Court of India has made it clear that in Sankal Chand Seth case, no prior consultation or no prior consent is necessary, or of the judge who is getting transferred is necessary for the transfer to take place. So, that is what is the clarity we need to give. And then let's come to the notes. So, what are the words you need to understand in the first article? The post-modern political parties and post-ideology mobilization based parties. So, one way we are having ideology-centered parties, and the other way we have pragmatism-centered parties. And then the concern of justice, redistribution plus recognition plus voice. And then we have to see the governing growing insecurity, that's a traditional article. And then the spoil system and McCarthyism. Why we are talking about spoil system in the case of India, and what do we mean by McCarthyism, and how is it significant in the post-truth world? And then evacuation, and what are the procedures we need to follow in the evacuation to systematize and institutionalize the process, and transfer of judges and Article 222(1), and what is the prescription of the Supreme Court in this matter. These are the articles for today, and thank you very much. And I'm in Delhi, so some disruptions are being expected, but I try to give you as quick as possible. But however, in Delhi, internet is a big challenge for me. Hope you can understand. And the second thing is, whenever I discuss the political articles, I discuss them from the previous questions perspective. Yesterday, when I discussed Ms. Sasikala and Tamil Nadu incident article, I was talking about a leadership and how an ethical leadership and how a situational, functional and positional leadership differs from each other. And from ethical point of view, our ethics discussion, that is very much important. So, and even from interview perspective, that is very much important. There, the incident is a passing reference. You don't need to remember the incident, but you need to know the leadership and the populistic and identity caste-based politics. Why are so strong in South and in few of the states such as UP? So that kind of discussion I tried to make over there. And we are not interested in the politics of the day. We are more interested in the content of the day. And finally, again, the diary of events I recommend to all the students, and it is made by Sandeep, and is also making the economic survey video and geography through maps video and NCRT videos. So your suggestions for improvement will always be helpful, and the diary of events video is available at lax.in/civils-prep. You can go there, and I request you to go through that particular diary of events. So at the end of the prelims and before the mains, how to enrich our answer with the current affairs, how can we quote the current affairs events as an example to substantiate our points, we will be taking it from the diary of events. Let's take urban transport or urban mobility. When this question comes up, which was asked previously, we can talk about odd-even rule. But however, in the normal circumstances, we may fail to recollect that. We all know that concept, we fail to recover or recollect unless we consciously take that into our consideration. So further, the diary of events will be helpful. And thank you very much. All the best.